Hi, myself Ankit, and this is my new channel Bioacademy, where we'll be learning biology from class 8 to 12. So all the concepts we will bring here in bilingual language, that is both Bengali and English. মানে বাংলা এবং ইংলিশ দুটো মিলিয়ে মিশিয়ে পড়াবো। সো দেখতে থাকো and please like, share and subscribe. So today's topic is cell, level of organizations of life, and the two topics which will be discussed in the video are biomolecules and overview of the cell. So to begin our story, we have to go to the origin of the formation of Earth. So when the Earth was formed, it has neither any atmosphere nor any components to support the life. So in a gradual manner, the atmosphere first formed, then in the atmosphere some inorganic gases were there, and those inorganic gases somehow build up the inorganic molecules. Then over a period of time, these inorganic molecules converted into organic molecules due to high pressure, high temperature, etc., etc. And then after the organic molecules, then the arrival of our first life begins. So আমরা দেখলাম যে একটা লাইফ যখন পৃথিবীতে স্টার্ট হতে শুরু করলো, তার কতগুলো ফেজের মধ্যে দিয়ে যেতে হয়েছিল। বাট সেই ফেজের মধ্যে প্রথমে কে ছিল? প্রথমে ছিল ইনঅর্গানিক মলিকিউলস, তারপর আসলো কারা? অর্গানিক মলিকিউলস, অ্যান্ড দেন আসলো কারা? যে দেন আমার ফার্স্ট যেটা লাইফ সেটা আসলো। তো এটা কেন বললাম না, বোঝানোর জন্য যে that the biomolecules which have been chosen was the first elements to support the life. So যদি আমরা biomoleculesকে একটা broadly categorize করি, if I broadly categorize the biomolecules, it is three types. Okay, so carbohydrate, protein and fat. সো আমরা আজকের লেকচারের মধ্যে দেখবো যে কার্বোহাইড্রেটের কি কি স্ট্রাকচার রয়েছে, প্রোটিনের কি ব্যাপার রয়েছে, ফ্যাটের কি ব্যাপার রয়েছে। ঠিক আছে, সো দেখা যাক। To start the topic, I want to quote something that in every biomolecules that we'll be encountering in our future classes, one should remember that carbon is the soul of any organic molecules. যে কোনো অর্গানিক কম্পাউন্ডের মধ্যে কার্বন থাকবেই থাকবে। ঠিক আছে, যে কোনো অর্গানিক কম্পাউন্ডের মধ্যে কার্বন থাকবেই থাকবে। তো এই কার্বোহাইড্রেট, সো to begin with the carbohydrate is what? Carbohydrate is a hydrocarbon, means there is carbon and there is hydrogen. So what is the structure? Structure is CnH2O. Okay, so this is how the structure basically is. তো আমরা দেখি কি কি রয়েছে। সো কার্বোহাইড্রেট আমরা যদি কিছু এক্সাম্পল দিয়ে বুঝতে যাই, তো ইফ আই টেক এক্সাম্পল, দ্যাট ইজ ওয়ান এক্সাম্পল ইজ গ্লুকোজ, যেটা আমরা সবাই জানি গ্লুকোজ কি। দেন দেয়ার ইজ ম্যানোজ, দেয়ার ইজ গ্যালাক্টোজ, সো এটসেট্রা, তোগুলো অনেক নাম আছে। কার্বোহাইড্রেটকে কি বলতে পারি না? কার্বোহাইড্রেট ইজ আ হাইড্রোকার্বন দ্যাট প্রোভাইডস এনার্জি ইন আওয়ার বডি ভায়া মেটাবলিক অ্যাক্টিভিটিস বা মেটাবলিক প্রসেসেস। So what is the structure of carbohydrate? So the structure of carbohydrate, আমি মুছে দিচ্ছি এটা। So there are many structures of carbohydrate. One is linear structure, another is ring structure. Sir, why there is two types of structure? Because in an organic compound, to elaborate the chemical properties of a organic molecule, one basic structure cannot define all the chemical properties have it. মানে একটা কার্বোহাইড্রেটের যদি একটা স্ট্রাকচার নিয়ে আমি তার সমস্ত কেমিক্যাল প্রপার্টিজ ডেসক্রাইব করতে পারতাম, তাহলে কি আমার যে কোনো একটাতেই হয়ে যেত, বাট যে কোনো একটা স্ট্রাকচার কি পুরো কেমিক্যাল প্রপার্টিসের ডেসক্রিপশন দিতে পারে না, তাই জন্য ডিফারেন্ট স্ট্রাকচারস গিভস আস ডিফারেন্ট কেমিক্যাল প্রপার্টিস। সো লিনিয়ার মধ্যে যদি আমরা দেখতে পারি, তো কার্বন কার্বন কত দিয়ে শুরু হয়? সো কার্বন বিগিনস উইথ 3, minimum 3 Cs are required, minimum 3 carbon chain is required, so that is called triose. If 4C, then it is called tetrose. If 5C, then it is called pentose. If 6C, then it is called hexose. 7C, then it is called heptose. So there is one common thing, that is O's, 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 O's. So any name that has a end with that ends with the O's is a carbohydrate. The example: glucose, cellulose, mannose, galactose. So these are the carbohydrate naming. Okay. So the structure that I am going to draw is of glucose. The structure of glucose. So this is the linear structure of glucose, and this is the ring structure of glucose. This is the ring structure, this is the linear structure of glucose. Okay, so there is one ring present in glucose. So glucose is a monosaccharide. Glucose is a monosaccharide. If there is more than 2 rings are present inside a glucose moiety, then it is called disaccharide. Okay, so if there is 1 and there is 2, this is disaccharide. Okay, if there is 3, trisaccharide. Okay, if there is multiple of moieties present in a carbohydrate, then it is called polysaccharide. So these two names are important. What is monosaccharide, what is polysaccharide? Monosaccharide consists one ring structure, polysaccharide consists several ring structures. So the ring structures which are joined by this bond is called glycosidic bond. So this bond is called glycosidic bond. This is the bond. This is the glycosidic bond. Okay. So this is the basic structure of carbohydrate that is required from the exam point of view, and I have told about the types, and there is one types that is called complex carbohydrate. These all are simple carbohydrates. The examples I have given here all are simple carbohydrates, and there are complex carbohydrates. Just the examples are required. So the example of complex carbohydrate are cellulose. So why complex? Because there are many branching present inside the structure. Means if the structure is going like this, there can be branch like this or like this. So this is all branched structure. So this is cellulose. Cellulose is a complex carbohydrate. So what is the function of carbohydrate? So what is the function of carbohydrate? Now carbohydrate gives us energy. How it gives us energy? Various metabolic process which is constantly going inside our body just digest the carbohydrate which we take via our diet, goes under metabolic processes metabolic processes and gives us energy. Gives us energy in the form of ATP. What is the full form of ATP? Adenosine triphosphate. Okay. How much energy is yield by carbohydrate? There is 4.1 to 4.2 kilocalorie. Kilocalorie energy is provided by carbohydrate, okay, by oxidation of carbohydrate. Okay, so this is all about carbohydrate. Then let's jump into the protein part. Okay, so I'm rubbing it all. So what is protein? So how the protein is formed? The protein is formed via a unit called amino acids. Amino acids. So what are these amino acids? Amino acids are, I'm drawing the structure of the amino acid, that is carbon, so this is a basic structure of amino acid, and if I consider this amino acid as this, and there will be multiple amino acids. Okay, this multiple amino acids eventually gives our final product, that is protein. So this is carboxylic group. This is one carboxylic group. This is one amino group. This is one alkyl group. What is this? This is alkyl group. This one is alkyl group. So how the structure is formed? Let me quickly draw it. I'm erasing it. So I'm not drawing the full structure. I'm just giving you a brief idea how the reaction is formed. So this is one amino acid. This is another amino acid, and here is the carboxylic group, here is the amino acid group. Whenever the reaction occurs, from this H2O is subtracted, and what we are left with, that is CO. So this bond is called the peptide bond. Remember the line I have drawn? So this line represents the peptide bond. This is very strong bond actually. So I think the structure is easily described here. So what happens is that when one amino acid pairs with another amino acid, it forms a long chain. The long chain is called polypeptide. And this polypeptide, after several modifications, converts into protein. So what is protein? Protein is nothing but a polypeptides that is made up of amino acids. So amino acids, we have looked into the structure, how amino acid looks like, and the formation of peptide bond, and how protein is produced. So This is how the protein structure is, to simplify. And there are certain types of protein that is present, that is simple proteins, there are conjugated proteins, there are derived proteins. Simple proteins are the proteins that is normally synthesized in our body. Conjugated proteins have a prosthetic group. Conjugated proteins have a prosthetic group. What is prosthetic group? Prosthetic group is nothing but a non-amino acid residue. Non-amino acid residue or structure that is joined with the polypeptide chain. There are certain types of enzymes that requires a prosthetic group to function, to activate. So this is the prosthetic group. This is all amino acid, made up of amino acid. This is non-amino acid, so this is known as prosthetic group. And there are another type, that is derived proteins. Derived proteins are not synthesized in our body normally, and these are peptone. Example, peptone. Okay. So what is the function of proteins? What are the functions? Let me quickly erase it. So functions of protein. First, protein gives us energy. How much energy? It is just like the same 4.2 to 4.1 kilocalorie. Second, protein is everywhere inside our cell, and protein also serves as the structural component. Structural component means it serves in the development of any organs that requires protein. That is our muscles, that is our cells, that is everything. Third, it works as a signaling molecule. Fourth, let's keep it just third. Okay. So these are the basic functions of protein which will be necessary from the exam point of view. And let us go into the second part, that is the fat or the lipids. So what is fats? Fat or lipids are the structures that basically have two components. What is glycerol? Other is fatty acids. So fatty acids and glycerols. Okay. So glycerol is a 3 carbon, and fatty acids are long hydrocarbon chains. So how does they look? This is how they look. Usually this is how they look. This is the glycerol part. These are the long hydrocarbon part. So these are CH2, and there are different groups here, and this is the structure of fatty acids. So there are two types of fatty acids. One is saturated. Saturated means it has no double bond inside the hydrocarbon tail. Hydrocarbon tail. So if there is no double bond present in the hydrocarbon tail, we call it as saturated fat, and if there is double bond present, that is called unsaturated fat. Okay, so there are oleic acid, linoleic acid. These are the examples of saturated and unsaturated fats. And what are their functions? The basic prominent functions of them is what we can see in the cell, that is formation of cell membrane. So you know there is a membrane that covers the cell. So this membrane is usually made up of lipid layer. Okay, LPL layer. So the formation of cell, it also gives us high value energy, 9.1 kcal of energy produced after the oxidation of the fat and lipids. And also there are many animals that has a thick layer of fat inside the dermis, on the upper side of the dermis, to protect them in the extreme cold environments present in the northern pole and southern pole. That is one example of polar bears. Polar bears have thick layer of fat. How it works? It insulates the heat, মানে বডি থেকে হিটটাকে বেরোতে দেয় না, হিটটাকে বডিতে ধরে রাখে, তাই জন্য অত ঠান্ডার মধ্যে পোলার বিয়ার বেঁচে থাকতে পারে। সো আমার মনে হয় এই পর্যন্ত বায়োমলিকিউলসটা আমরা কমপ্লিট করলাম। এরপর আমরা নেক্সট পার্টের মধ্যে যাব, যেখানে কিনা আমরা সেলের ওভারভিউটাকে পুরোটা কমপ্লিট করবো। আমি ফার্স্ট ভিডিও, তাই জন্য বেশি বড় করতে চাইছি না। সো এর মধ্যে যদি কোনো কিছু কারো ডাউট থেকে থাকে, প্লিজ আস্ক মি ইন দ্য কমেন্ট বক্স, অ্যান্ড কিপ কাম and do share, subscribe. Thank you. Keep calm, बोला भाई. Keep calm. भाई keep calm बोला भाई. Keep calm, have fun. Keep calm, have fun बोले इधर. So keep calm, have fun. বন্ধু ভাই, এটা বড় হয়েছে না।